Welcome everybody back to Yield Today with Dallin Candland. I'm joined with Lee Hopkins. He is a life coach analyst, as well as I heard on his podcast, Patterns of Possibility. You can see that if you're watching the YouTube video, he's a thing that says, where there's a pattern, there's a possibility. And just, he's doing some really good stuff. And his podcast is pretty new, Patterns of Possibility podcast. Definitely give it a listen if you'd like to hear more from Lee. But thank you so much, Lee, for coming on the show, and appreciate your time.
Thank you, Dallin. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate me being here. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when we are going throughout our normal lives, there are times when we kind of have these little pain points and we're like, hey, I don't like that. I don't know why that happened. And sometimes if you mess up again and again, you'll kind of get into this rut. And it sounds like what you do with your coaching is you're able to help people recognize those and then change it up. How do you usually go about that with a client?
Oh, that's a really great question. Yeah, because it's automatic. It seems like we're always in a pattern, and we can see some that are beneficial and we can see some that aren't. We just don't know how to break out of the pattern. So what I do is try to bring attention to the fact that there's a feeling around the situation. So anything that you do, everything that you do is based on a feeling. Before you act, you feel it first. So when people get in the situations, I ask them to look for a strong emotion, a strong feeling that goes along with it. So if you're feeling absolutely devastated, you're sad, then what happened around that? And then we can work backwards to see what happened before that and before that and before that. And if it's a trend, if you're always feeling bad on a Saturday night because you don't have a date, then let's look at that, because it seems like you're sad for a reason. Let's go tackle the right problem.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think it's really crucial and so powerful if you're able to kind of narrow it down to the nitty gritty. I've been learning and hearing about this lately this week of like when we are having these difficult times, a lot of times it's from these specific unmet needs, like maybe it's just food or just appreciation or just you don't feel valuable. And then it just leads to all these other craziness, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
So what
So,
have been some of the most powerful patterns that you've like noticed for yourself? And then how did that lead you to wanting to become a coach for people? I mean, it's very easy to enjoy what you're doing and be like, yeah, I enjoy this. But then what kind of helped you take that next step?
oh yeah, definitely great question. So I'm gonna have to share a little bit of my background with you for this one. So I grew up in Ohio, and I really thought that the hometown that I grew up in was just not my place. So when I get to college, I was so excited. I had a new place, and I thought I would meet new people and have a new experience. You know, I was lonely in my hometown, and I went to college, and I thought it'd be different around different people, and I was lonely too. So I thought, well, I need to leave the state. Everybody in Ohio is just messed up. So I moved to California, and lo and behold, I had the very same experience.
Hmm.
So I decided, well, it can't be me. It's just that I moved to the wrong place. So I ended up moving to Chicago, and I had the exact same experience, right? So there's a pattern, there's a trend. It's just me. There's something that I'm doing. It's not the people that are around me. So that was one thing that was very eye-opening. And the way I found out that it was me is because I really hit rock bottom. I was just absolutely devastated. I was sad. I was all by myself in this large city, and I had no support. So I went to counseling, and they really helped me understand exactly what these patterns were. They were like, pay attention to what you're doing and how you feel about it. And it really worked out for me.
There you go. Awesome.
Yeah.
And then you've just kept it up and you've been able to develop these different ways to apply it to helping out and making a real difference in solving problems. That's fantastic.
Yes, absolutely. And so the pattern is large. Like, it's really big. If you look at it, it's like I'm moving from one city to the next city to the next city. But within that, there were things that I was doing within those cities and with the people that I met in the city. So there's a pattern of interactions that I was having with people. And when I say switching up specific patterns, it means that it's not just like from moving from state to state to state, right? I thought that, well, since I'm interacting with people, let's say in Chicago, I was finding people, was interacting with them, I would go to bars and I'd meet people and we'd talk and feel like I have a great conversation. And then I realized, well, we're not a great connection. So instead of going to bars, I thought, well, I'll just go to meetup and I will meet at a comedy club. But I was drinking at a comedy club. I met some people, but then we just kind of didn't connect. So I realized after a few times that, well, there's a common denominator here. No matter where I am, there's alcohol involved. So I'm going to get rid of that alcohol and see what happens.
Mhm.
And that's what worked out. So that's what I mean by specific patterns. There is something that you're doing and recreating. You may think it's different, but there's something that you're doing or I was doing specifically to make it repeat itself.
Yeah, I think that's super just crazy how if we're not careful, we can kind of get into these robotic mode and we get into autopilot mode and it can just be really a little boring and just seem like you're not really accomplishing too much. So what was like one of those big, I guess, changes that you made to change this pattern up?
Well, I like that you talked about it being boring. That was one of the things that I recognized about being in a pattern is like there's really no accomplishment, no sense of accomplishment, the day to day. And so I set out a goal for myself. And since I'm in a large city, I belong to a Toastmasters club,
Oh,
which
so
is an
cool.
international speaking club. You know about Toastmasters? Oh, great. International speaking club. And there's a program here within Chicago that kind of helps people, inspires people to go to different clubs, to explore different clubs. And I had the ability and the time to go to different clubs. So I just set a goal out there. I wasn't doing anything in my life. There was no calendar. I mean, I had a job, but I just go to job, work, come home, and that was it. So I decided I would go visit 100 Toastmasters clubs within 1 year. And that was the
Jeez.
thing that really helped me. And I took it was completely different. Like I said, I was going to bars and having drinks, but when I go to Toastmasters, I look at the complete opposite. Nobody's drinking, and everybody wants to improve.
Mhm.
So that was perfect. And then I just kept going to different ones. It gave me a reason sometimes to get up and do something. And the people, they're always friendly. So when I went there, I always felt welcome. So it was very therapeutic, but also it completely broke that pattern. I met people that I mean I have in my life today, of course, because even outside of Toastmasters, because I did that, I changed it.
Dude, that's fantastic. I was planning to get into Toastmasters last year before COVID happened, and it didn't really happen. But I've made that a goal for the next year, 2021, to really put myself out there because I'd like to speak at TEDx sometime. But what goals and what milestones can I do before that? As much Toastmaster as possible. And I know it like costs a little bit of money to get the membership and
Mhm.
stuff, but I think it'd be worth it. But we'll have to talk more about that. That's sweet that you got into
Oh
that. Way
yeah,
to go.
thank you, thank you.
Yeah. So when you had these like, I don't know, these realizations, what did you do next, I guess? Did you just write them down or where did you go from there?
Well, the realizations, well, I became curious about it. So my world started to change, and um, it was just so surprising how it changed. So I noticed the big thing that I did was going to the different Toastmasters clubs, putting myself in front of different people who were in front of looking for goals or things that I wanted to. So I was like, well, wow, all I did was go to different clubs. All I did was do that thing. What happens if I do this? What happens if um, I don't know, experiment a little bit? What if I show up here and at a sports event, or what if I hang out with these people outside of Toastmasters? What if I ask someone for their phone number? What if these things happen? How will it be?
Mhm.
Like, it really gave me inspiration because I was able to get over that depression and meet new people. And so it really felt like there's no hopelessness. There's a lot of ability to make something different. So what pattern can I start now?
That's cool. So the environment really helped you to create that new pattern, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I went to go make the environment. Um, I'm completely empowered. So when you are looking at these patterns, you realize that they're patterns. You are completely empowered to break them, to change them, to bend them to however you want them to be. So if I don't like a situation, if I don't like how the situation is, I don't have to be there. It, just that mentality was really helpful too.
Hmm. Yeah, especially like in the world we live in today, there's so many ways you can use technology to help you like take that step ahead, or remind you, or be an accountability partner, and all those other different things. But even still, there's still like excuses you can make all day long until the cows come home. So what have been some of the big, I guess, roadblocks that your clients have brought up to you, and what have you learned from those things?
Yeah, well, excuses. That is definitely a thing that people bring up. It's so scary to make a new change. It's so scary. So our mind will just give us so many reasons why it's not possible, why we can't do it, and so forth. And the reasons that people have given me are things that are just kind of silly, and they're rooted in fear. Like, I'm scared. What if I'm rejected? Well, see if you die. Like, you probably won't, right? You probably won't. You'll be
Hmm.
okay. And you'll have something to experience with it. So when I hear things like that, I want to challenge them, like, be curious about what's going to happen. Just be curious about it. And that usually helps people get over the the thing that they're afraid of, because I want to know what they're thinking about the situation when they go into it. So they get all curious. So I'm hoping to get them into the mindset like, oh, well, I got rejected. How do I feel about that? Well, I guess I'm okay. I guess I'll just go, well, it's a good story to tell. No, it's not something that's really going to hurt you. It's only going to give you a great story to tell. It's only going to enhance you. You're only going to learn something from it. So I really push and strive for letting people realize that they're so powerful that way.
Yeah, I think that is so crucial, is just being able to help them see it as an experiment. Think of yourself as a scientist in your own lab. One of my favorite books, The Magic of Thinking Big, talks all about that. It's like you can spend all of this time in this laboratory of your life, conduct endless experiments for free.
Mm.
And so it's
Yes.
all about how you look at it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'll share with you one of my favorite experiments to do is on people. Haha. But seriously, I like to I mean, we're just people here, so we all interact with other people. And when I say experimenting on other people, I don't really mean that. I mean, there are things that I know that I like. They're deal breakers. They're things that I just know I can't put up with. And
Mhm.
so as quickly as possible, I try to introduce someone new to those things. I try to interact with them and see if they like it or see if they dislike it, see how they really feel about it. And I give you an example. I was trying to date a little bit ago, and even during COVID, we're always trying to meet new people. But so I was trying to date, and I just kind of explained to them this coaching business and what I wanted to do, because they asked what my future was. And they said, well, it's a pie in the sky kind of dream. Right, that right there just let me know that, well, this is
Mhm.
very important to me. We're just not going to get along. So, yeah, that's a pattern that I will see, like how people react to these things. It's really been helpful with that too.
Yeah, I think people completely forget that there are people in way worse beginnings that get to like astronomical possibilities. And it's the pattern where there's a pattern, there's also a possibility. If you consistently learn from your mistakes and grow from them and take advantage of these opportunities, you're going to become someone doing a great thing for great people. And you'll make a great impact. And usually a great impact means sustainability, sustainable income, and everything. But it's easy for people to forget about that. And especially if they haven't been raised or lived, I guess, and been able to see that for themselves, it's more difficult to believe it, for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's another piece of it. I talk about confidence, direction, and resilience. And they work in that order because you'll have the confidence to try new things and to see what you like and what you don't like. And so, like you said, people are raised and not raised to feel that or notice that or empowered to do that. And I wasn't. I wasn't raised to do any of these things or try anything new. And I'm I'm talented when it comes to art. I do a lot of art, and I was really just kind of discouraged from doing any of those things, any of the things that I really enjoyed. So I I didn't have the confidence, and I felt like for a very long time, just up until maybe 5 years ago, I felt like I don't even know what I'm doing and why I'm here. I'm no good at anything, and there's no purpose for me. So once people get that confidence going in them, that affirmation that it's an experiment, enjoy it. And if you like doing this experiment, do it again. And that just raises your confidence way up there. Then when you have your confidence, you know what you want to do. So you've got your direction. You get your direction, you also need some resilience because it's going to be hard. Wherever you're going, whatever you're going to try, it's going to be hard. There are going to be people that might knock you down, but you have to be resilient against that. You have to be able to say, you know, I want this thing, and there's nothing that's going to stop me from getting it.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to roll with the punches and just keep going. I mean, there's the
Hmm.
quote that said it's not about how hard you can how hard you can hit, but how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward, because there's all these different parts of running a business or having a strong relationship. It's going to be tested. You're not going to have a strong relationship if it's not tested, or a strong business. So
Absolutely, absolutely. I concur with that. Like relationships, my relationships were not strong at all, just because of that reason that you mentioned. I thought that I had the perfect relationship some time ago in my 20s when I thought that because we didn't fight. But then when we did fight, everything just came out, even the kitchen sink, and so it was just over. There was no,
yeah.
there was instantly. So yeah, definitely need to build that resilience, take that punch. Our relationship couldn't take it.
Yeah. So with me, Lee, starting like a YouTube channel and starting a podcast and doing all these different things has helped me develop a better mindset overall for work, business, and school. What have been some of the things that you've learned with running your coaching business, and like how has that helped you with your professional life and meeting people on the street and just your overall life perspective?
Oh, that's a great question. Great question. So yeah, starting a business is a life change, just like changing a job or anything. But now the focus is on me. I'm my employer, so I have to do everything for myself, and that has been challenging. But keeping that mindset of this is an experiment and trying new things. That's how I got into podcasting, because I wanted to try that and experiment, figure out how I can get my word out. And I also am able to interact with new people. So um, one thing that I'd like to do before working with people was to check their mindset, just like the person that I was going to date. If they want to continue to grow, but they don't know where they're going or how to do it, then I'll be the person for them. If they're the person that's going to make a ton of excuses at the beginning, from the very beginning, then I wouldn't be that kind of person. I wouldn't be able to coach with them. So learning more about people's behavior, learning about some of the signs that I would see if I were to ask, well, how do you feel about this? And what are you looking for? Those kind of things. I have been able to kind of hone my skills on that. And then there's a whole bunch of other things that come with owning a business that I just don't like to do. Just don't like to do it. The business part of it, where I'm crunching numbers and I'm like fixing up my website, I'm doing everything by myself. Nice learning experience, but it also takes some time and energy away from other things that I could be doing, as far as like coaching and working with people, which is really the passion behind it. This is a great learning experience, a shift in mindset, hustle, hustle, hustle. You got to get going.
That's awesome. Yeah. There's just it's easy to kind of get caught up in that. But when you're talking, it made me think about like MLB players or NBA players. There's parts of their job I'm sure they don't like a lot. But then there's other times when they're like fast breaking for a layup or whatever, and they just make the shot and they're like, this is why I do all of this is because of those moments. And I think you explained that really well, just being willing to go through learning web design. And honestly, your website looks pretty good. The podcast episode and stuff, it all looks pretty solid on your website. So nice job on that.
Thank you.
But yeah, just being willing to go through those and face those opportunities, face those experiences and experimenting, there's no limit to what you can learn and accomplish.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what have been some of the big things, I guess, resilience wise? You don't have to like share any personal stories, but just kind of what comes to mind and how has that helped you to just keep moving forward? I guess another way to say is like, what have been some of the punches you've taken and how have they helped you keep moving forward? How have you gotten back up?
Oh, okay. So the punches have been just kind of getting stuck, not sure what resources that can help me to move forward in the business, like as far as uh, what taxes and the things behind the scenes, and actually starting a coaching package. Like how will I create that? How will I market that? Those kind of things have been um, a challenge. But I would say the biggest challenge would be the doubt that sometimes comes in my head from doing this, because it's a lot of extra energy, it's work, but of course it's work. I have a full-time job in addition to this. So I think that just being resilient, because I want to be good at both things. I want to be good at my job as I enjoy my job. I like analytics, so I work in analytics. And I like working with people as well. So it's been challenging to balance that because there's only 24 hours in the day. But that has been something, losing a bit of sleep, resilience, definitely trying to be sharp and losing sleep and being focused.
I think it's thrilling too, to love yourself enough to go on that journey, to start a business, to start one of those things, to conduct that experiment, because you will inevitably learn a ton about yourself. And lately, like I've been really seeing myself, my own personal development journey, like, yes, this works great for this person. That does not work for me at all. And so we need
Mhm.
to find another thing that works. But when you do find it, you're like, wow, this is awesome. And it really just can help you with filling in all the other blanks, I guess, on the paper, instead of, you don't want to just put in someone else's answers because those might not be correct for yourself. You need to do what's best for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well said.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Well, I can tell you have a lot of passion for what you do and you're trying to help a lot of people. What would you want somebody that is struggling with a pattern? It could be addiction or anything like that. What would you tell them? If maybe you're a youth or a college student, maybe you're stuck in a pattern they don't like. What would you tell them?
I would tell them, wow. I would want to tell them to think about what they don't like about the situation and what they wish that would be different. And then that'll give them a little bit of a roadmap to how to get it. So they won't be able to see anything in between point A and point B at all, but they'll know that if they continue doing whatever pattern it is that leads to, let's say, a strong feeling, let's say they're angry, and they realize that every time they talk to their girlfriend or boyfriend or significant other, they get angry. So, well, you don't want to be angry. Is that the thing that you're looking to change? You want to have a great relationship? then maybe you need to explore that thing that's making you angry. What inside that conversation that's making you angry? So what I would say is that check for that strong emotion. See if it keeps happening. When you notice it, see if it keeps happening and when it happens. And then if you don't like what it is, imagine what it would be different. What would be different about it? Imagine the difference, what you want to change. Imagine that. And then your brain is very powerful. It will start making those steps or making those things for you. As soon as you know where you're going, as soon as you don't even know how, you don't have to know how you get there. Just pick up where you're going.
I think that's really beautiful. I talked about that on one of my podcast episodes. I think it was the Cracking Yourself Up episode about getting more laughs out of your life. And it was kind of a similar thing. Like, remember the journey that you're on and being able to move forward from that. Because I think sometimes, and I know I felt this as a youth, I was like, oh, if I don't get my Eagle Scout, if I don't do this and this and this and this and this, I am never going to get married. I'm not going to amount to anything. And it's this all or nothing mentality that's so toxic and so untrue. So I think what you said there about just remembering the destination you're heading towards or you want to head towards and just walking in that direction.
Absolutely. That's the first thing. Just imagine what it would be like if it was different. Then how can you make it different? And you're on your way.
Mm-hmm. Is there any like stories or any, I don't know, nursery rhymes or any like things like that that just really, you really like? We talked about the tortoise and the hare with, I was with Alex Sanfilippo and he talked about the tortoise and the hare. Are there any like morals or fables, things like that, that you really empathize with that have led to a lot of your thought patterns and I guess your perspective?
Oh, well, I can tell you about a childhood book that I really liked. It was about a horse named Chester. I don't know if anybody has ever heard of this book, but I totally remember. It was about a horse who was in the wild, and they were just running around. He was running around with his friends and horse friends, and some ranchers came in, and Chester was a special horse. He wanted to be captured. And the ranchers decided, no, I don't want to capture this guy because obviously he can't run. He's just kind of a horse that just stands there. I'm going to go after the other ones. So Chester was just really sad because the whole point of the story was that he wanted to be with a family. He wanted to be loved. That was the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And so that's something that I realized that as a young person, that was something that still sticks with me. I realized that, wow, this has been happening. It's been unconscious for a very long time. And so that's something that I resonate with. Just getting with a family, just being connected with other people is something I resonate with.
So basically of acceptance and inclusion?
Yeah, absolutely. Those are the things that are really important to me. And authenticity too. It's not about hiding who you are to fit in with people. It's about being your genuine self and being with other people, because that's the only way you can make any connection. Anything else is false and it doesn't serve you, and it's a disservice to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a little thought that I've been trying to keep in mind, and it's when you hide your light, you burn yourself, which kind of makes sense.
I like that. That's brilliant. I like that.
It's like, well, yeah, I'll just hide it right here. It's like, what are you gonna do? You're just gonna burn yourself. It's not gonna help you out at all.
Yeah, is that yours? I'd like to share that with everybody.
Yeah, feel free to share it. I just read it somewhere. I'm always digging up stuff. That is not an original Dallin Candland idea, but if I do share something that is an original, I'll let you know. But that's I read that somewhere and I just held on to it and I wrote it on a sticky note and put it, in my room too. And there's another one. It's like, is what I'm doing putting it, is what I'm doing right now putting my light on a candle, or just am I hiding it? And I think that's so vital, is that we learn to share it,
Absolutely. And like you said, just like the analogy, which is so powerful, it really illustrates it's not just you hiding, it's you hurting yourself. That's
Hmm.
what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I enjoyed this conversation a lot, Lee. Thank you so much for reaching out, and it was great to have you on the show. How can the listeners get in touch with you? And if you have any other closing thoughts, definitely would love to hear those.
All right. Well, thanks for having me again. I really appreciate it. Your listeners can find me at patternsofpossibility.com and also on Instagram at Patterns of Possibility. And just as he said, I have a YouTube channel. You can check that out. I usually put out episodes every 2 weeks. So it's a new channel, and there are a couple of things out there, but I've got lots of content to go for it. And some final thoughts. I suppose that um, I would like to just steal that one line. If you hide your light, you'll burn yourself. That'll be my thought. But it's absolutely true. It really sums up everything that I believe in.
Wow. Well, that's wonderful. I'm really glad we were able to have this conversation and connect, and we'll have to do it again in the future. But guys, check out patternsofpossibility.com. Help Lee with what he's getting started, and I'm excited for his future and what he's able to do. So keep it up,
All
Lee,
right.
and thank you for coming on.
Thank you. I'm excited to see where you'll end up too. I'm watching your channel as well. So I can't wait to see who you have on next.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we'll just see. We're getting a little bit more clear and trying to recognize those patterns. So we'll definitely be in touch. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Take care.
See ya.